Hey, greetings. Welcome back to Soul Producers. I am GriffinGamingRPG, and I'm joined with my co-producers, the one and only fastcart and the exceptional one and only SeriousFun. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing well. I guess I'm not exceptional, but I'm okay. I'm good. Thank you for
Yeah,
that.
you're okay. You're okay. You're okay.
I,
Sirius is exceptional. You're okay.
I, I don't like being in the middle. We need to fix this immediately and get me back on the
You don't
right.
like being the producer sandwich?
No.
Well, it's good to be back. This is the month of April, and we're doing our monthly video for our Patreon and YouTube subscribers to give you guys updates on where things are going on with the Soul Citizens and stuff that's going on in the community. And today, we titled our show, it's all about change. A lot of times we're talking about what's the latest things that are going on with our community. And so today, Fastcart kicked us off a little bit. Fastcart, tell us about this title and what's going on with all this stuff here. What's the latest?
Yeah. So just seeing the title a few minutes ago, but it's an excellent title. That is the current, or as of 5 minutes ago, current funding uh, status for CIG. 800 $1,137,543 and some change. Because there's always some cents, pennies. I don't know what other currencies they have, but yeah, nickels and dimes, what have you. So yeah, that's what it was as of 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, and today
Yeah, my,
is.
my first reaction to that, just really quick, Griff, my first reaction to that is good. Good, right? I mean, I know that, there's some outlets that try to make hay over these milestones, but the bottom line is very simple.
Bless
The
you.
bottom line is,
No,
God bless you.
yeah. Bless you.
It's
Bless
very
you.
straightforward. Yeah, I mean, other than bless you at being the bottom line, the other bottom line is without funding, there is no project, right? And so we need to see funding. We need to see funding continue. This 800 million is not only a milestone over the long term, but as Fastcard could probably expand on, this quarter has been a record-setting quarter as well. So
So where's it?
my only
Where
answer to
is this
that is
coming from?
good.
Where is it coming from? Is 800 too much? Where is this money coming from? Because I know you ain't putting it in, and I'm not
Nope.
I
putting
ain't
it
putting
in, and
it
Fastcar's not putting it in.
in.
So where's this money coming from? What do you
Like
guys
the last
speculating?
time I put in money was probably November during IAE. I don't think I put in anything since then, as far as I can remember. So
Okay.
yeah, I
I
don't know about
can't lie.
y'all.
I put in a little bit for the Drake Gollum. So what was that?
But to your point, that's a little bit.
Yeah,
50 50
60
50
bucks.
bucks, 50 60 bucks.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
ain't no big investment into
Yeah, but
the development of
if
Star
he
Citizen.
if he's one of 1,000,
But no, but I mean, but my point is that even if it
yeah,
is, even if a bunch of people did go out and buy the golems, it's still just 50 bucks. It's not like the Perseus came out. You know what I mean?
right.
Uh, for me, what did I spend my money on last? The last thing I bought was that Origin racing suit. That was, I mean, to about with real cash. So
Hmm.
I haven't bought a golem. I haven't bought the Geo. Um, and a lot of people that I've talked to have not bought stuff. And I'm talking about gamers who've been around for a while. So does this lead us to maybe think that maybe a lot of this is coming from new players or
Yeah,
players
It
who
has
feel
to
like
be.
they're coming back to the game, who the experience of performance is better, and now they feel like it's worth maybe putting some more money in. For those of us who've been putting money in all the time, we've stopped. But maybe it's these, because I know, like, I'm in Test Squadron. I go over to test. There's a whole bunch of names over there I don't know. For
Oh really?
years they've been familiar names. Now I go over there. If there's 20 names, maybe one or two of them are people I know now.
Really? Okay, I
So
didn't know
I'm
that.
kind of wondering: is it that these are people who are coming back to the game because they've seen some of the stuff that's going on, pyro, and games playing more stable, so they're willing to kind of keep coming back, and now they're willing to put more money in, maybe?
well, the
For me, it
increase in
seems
new
like
accounts as a straight number is about 5%. So there are 5% new accounts, right?
Okay.
I would say probably 80 to 90% of those are new people, right? And then maybe 10, 15% of those are current people with an additional new account, right? So sometimes we do that, right? So you got to factor for that.
Especially for referrals.
Yeah.
Right, right. Particularly in this late referral run, as people might know, they're about to change the referral system, right? And so they gave people a heads up about that, so people might be getting a late referral run in. But I do think that most of those are new people because, to your point, I'm seeing new faces in new spaces, right? I mean, in old spaces. I'm seeing new faces in old spaces, right? The Reddit thread you're getting that flood of new questions, right? That are really old questions, but they're
I was
new
gonna
if
say,
you're new.
yeah, it's really old question just asked by new people.
Right, exactly. Right. And so I'm seeing that we're in that wave, right, where that's happening. So I do believe that it is new people coming to the game. And, occasionally I'll let my YouTube premium lapse. And so there'll be a couple days where I'll see ads on YouTube and I see Star Citizen ads. Right. And this is what people who aren't paying for premium are seeing all the time. Right. And so if you got a combination of ads and a combination of the senses that the game has been stabilized, you're going to get those new players. So
Right.
Yeah, for me, I don't know how much of it is from returning players, but it feels like it's mostly new players. I mean, from my perspective, I don't really have any data to back this up because CIG don't put this data up. Maybe when they put out the making of Star Citizen or the making of Final 42, they will put up more of these details, or maybe when they put out the financials. Like, they haven't done the financials this year, have they?
Not yet. They haven't come out yet. No, we're still waiting for them.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe we'll find out then. But I'm not holding my breath. Typically, they don't put out those numbers. But yeah, it feels like it's new players putting in new money as opposed to old players coming back or putting in more money. But I mean, my fleet is set. I have like 18 ships, so I don't know about y'all.
Okay.
Unless it's like something like a mini Bandit Regiment or a mini Endeavor or something like that.
Right.
Or RSI puts out something new,
Right.
Okay.
Or something Origin for Griffin.
Right.
Or something Origin. Okay.
I mean, they dropped the race suit and he was on it, so if they dropped
exactly. Point made.
That's very true. Yeah. Well, it's interesting, and to your point, Sirius, that there's always this side of, this argument about, the point that people raise it, this $800 million, but where's the game, right? Where's the release? And I know we've rehearsed this before, and those of you who are sponsors and who support us, you guys know that this argument of, not just one game, but two games are being made. If we were to split this number down the middle, it would be $400 million. And it's not saying that's the way it's split. I'm just saying if we just took 50-50, $400 million is about the average now for a AAA game to be produced. That's a normal number. So it's hard to, when we see the 800 million, we think that 800 million is being dumped on one game, and that's not the reality. The reality is that this money is being divided between the development of Squadron 42 and also the persistent universe Star Citizen.
And it's building a brand new game engine, and it's building brand new tech for that game engine.
And they had to build new studios and rent offices and get all the infrastructure and everything put in place.
Yeah. Do you think that... Okay, this is going to be a really crazy question here. Will Star Citizen reach a goal or a number of $1 billion before the release of Squadron 42?
Ooh, that's gonna be so close. Like, it depends on when Squadron 42 releases. Like, if you release it at the beginning, or I'm not saying it will, but if it releases at the beginning of 2026, then probably no. If it releases closer to the end of 2026, it'll be close.
Well, do you think they'll hit 900 million by the end of this year? And it's because we were below 800 when we started, so that means they'd have to make like 100 and something. I don't know if they're going to hit 900 by the end of the year.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, the thing is, I tried to predict the funding model for this game quite a few times, and I've been wrong most of the time. It doesn't feel like to me they will hit 900 million, but this is what? This is April, so we have like 8 more months. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel like they hit 900 million by the end of the year. But who knows what happened with Invictus? Who knows what happened with IAE?
Well, let's move beyond those two because those are two locked in things. But one of the pieces of news that we got uh, this time around has to do with something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not Invictus, uh, and it's not IAE because those are the two things that we are definitely familiar with. It's something different, right? It's
Yeah.
CitizenCon, and
Right.
CitizenCon is a revenue generator. Uh, those new flashy things that pop up on the screen bring in money. Now they are still going to do it this year. But it's called CitizenCon Direct, and this isn't the first time that they've done an online presentation. So this is not going to be a foreign beast. We had this happen during the COVID years where we were meeting online, and I didn't get the impression that less people were engaged or watched it. I know there were people who felt like they missed the idea of coming together in the community aspect. But do you think that by them going direct, they'll make more money because we're not spending traveling money now. We're not spending hotel money. We're not spending money at restaurants. That money that, I mean, let's face it. People go to CitizenCon. They may spend anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000. Now they don't have to do that. They're going to be home. Is that going to mean that now, if there's a real presentation of some really cool stuff, that they'll end up making even more money?
I don't know. For me, I only got bit by the impulse bug one time. That was with the Odyssey, and that was like my only regret. And I melted it like a week or two later.
Yeah.
So I mean, for me, like if it's a tiny new ship and it doesn't really fit in my fleet, I'm not really affected. So I know some other people are. So it does depend on the ship, but it depends on whether or not I can fit it. It has a role in my fleet
But
for me.
that's you talking about your fleet, and I get that. But I'm talking about the fact that you've removed the amount of money people normally spend in October to go to
Yeah,
CitizenCon. Do you
right.
think that now, because they're not going to spend money traveling, that money would now get redirected into funding? Because
It's pop up. It
CitizenCon
depends.
money doesn't go into funding. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
CitizenCon
right,
money
right,
doesn't
right,
do
right.
funding.
Right. Uh, for me, I don't know.
Okay.
It depends on what they release.
Well, Fastcard, you keep saying for you. I ain't asking for you. I'm asking about the community. Do you think the
But
community will spend more
I'm
money?
saying the community it's similar to me. As a matter of fact, for
Okay.
like who sees a new ship like the 600i and decides to impulse buy?
Me?
Only a few people. Only a few
Me?
people. That's not
Yeah, but
normal in my opinion.
but we know that CIG has got a list of like 11 ships or something this year, some
That's
crazy
true.
amount of ships, and I'm
Right.
saying that $1,000 that would normally go towards CitizenCon, am I going to be more willing to spend it toward buying? It doesn't have to be based around CitizenCon. I'm just saying, will we be more willing to buy more ships now, spend more money? And I get what you're saying about the fleet, because some people are like, hey, even if it doesn't fit in my fleet,
I mean,
even if I got the money, I'm not going to buy it.
I've been to CitizenCon 3 times, and the time that I didn't go to CitizenCon, I was not enticed to buy more ship.
Okay.
That's me, but I don't know about other people. I'm thinking other people are similar.
I can't get fast cut off of the me thing. Serious, so I'm
Yeah, I
gonna go to you
know.
now. What do you think? What do you think?
Well, when it comes to me, no,
Ah!
no, I think that the history, no matter whether it is a pre-COVID year, a COVID year, or a post-COVID year for CIG, is that every year, when you really look at it, starts as it means to go on. Every year starts as it means to continue, right? And so if you have small little revenue hits in a year, you have a small year, right? And if you have bigger revenue hits in the beginning of the year, you have a bigger year. And so this year, we're at $26 million, the project. Now, I don't know why I say we, because I don't get any of that money.
Yeah,
They
I
are
know. I
at
just say
$26
I did
million,
the same thing earlier.
right? And uh,
That's
this
impressive.
is, yeah, and this is a, in terms of straight dollars at this time, they have never begun in April this advanced in the revenue. So I do think that this is going to be a one of the top 1 or 2 years, if not the top year, for them. Now, we have no idea, like I said earlier, around advertising, what the expense now is to drive some of that, right? And so we don't know what the overall net is, but we never known that. This is just straight gross revenue, right?
Right.
I do think that CitizenCon Direct has a chance if the mix of ships is right
Mm-hmm.
to drive additional sales, right? Because one, you've got additional eyeballs no matter what, right? Um, and two, you do have some of those big dogs that will spend the money to go out to an LA or to a Manchester who are now going, I'm not spending my money on that. I personally want them to spend their money on Quantum, but that's a whole other thing. But
Good
they
job.
may say as a result of not going to CitizenCon, when they're negotiating with their spouse or their significant other, they say, well, I didn't spend this money going out there. I'd like to spend it on X ship, right?
Right.
And
Right.
so I do think you have a chance for that. But I think the broader, smarter play is to have some starter or entry
live
level
streaming
ships
right now.
for all these new
It's
eyes
okay. What you need, babe?
that are also ready,
Huh?
right?
I see.
Because
Yeah.
if you got those starter or new eyes ships ready, you've got people who then go, hey, what is this? They get rallied around the event, right? Get excited around the event. And then, this year is also about narrative. So what if they add some narrative to the event, right? Then you've got even more of a compelling reason to engage, right? So
Bring back Jax.
yeah, 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 and introduce Jax
Bring back
and
Molly.
right, bring them all
But
back and introduce them to a whole new audience. I mean, Garmin Humble pulled out some swords. I want to extend that narrative. I'll tell you that right now. So
and to your point, last year during IAE, they released like 6, 7, 8 ships, which is one of the most they released during IAE. And one of those ships was the Intrepid, a new starter ship. So if they do that this year, they could probably put in some money. But if they, even if it's like 3 or 4 ships, depending on the ship and depending on what on a price point, depending on what their role, because everyone wants that certain ship. They can make a lot of money, but it depends on what they pull out.
Yeah. There's questions about which ships they would produce this year, and I don't know which ship would be the thing that would be the hook for CitizenCon. To me, I think that if CIG tries to compensate usually, like if we're not going to get together, they try to make sure that there's something that offsets that. But they also said in the announcement for CitizenCon that it wouldn't be like that, like the 2-day, 12-hour type of thing, right? They said it was going to be kind of narrowed down. So the question is going to be, what's the wow factor for CitizenCon? Will it be, for example, a trailer for Squadron 42 next year that we finally get to see, right? Will it be the announcement of pre-orders for the game, right?
will it be Knicks?
Will it be Knicks? Yeah, will it be Knicks? If the Perseus doesn't come out sooner,
Will it come out later?
Will it come out later? Right. So there could be some things that I think that will generate funding for people. So for those people who do have those assets, that money that's just kind of laying around that they would have dedicated toward going to CitizenCon, I think that they'll end up. I think they're going to bring in some money. As crazy as it is, normally I'm really hesitant about how they're going to do. Will they hit that
Normally,
100? Will they hit that 900 million mark? It's going to be close. They may be around 9, somewhere between 880 and 9.
I believe 880
or not will be interesting. We'll have to see. Okay.
Yeah, I just want to say, like every year for CitizenCon, we've been hoping and praying that they bring out the actors for Squadron 42. It would suck for a lot of us if they do it this year because it's not a physical CitizenCon. But I can see them doing it because it'll be cheaper for cheaper for CIG.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Gary Oldman can be at home on Zoom, that's cheaper for everybody, right? So,
Hey, for real. But
I
the
know, yeah,
marketing-
you're right.
Yeah, but the marketing side of it would be smart to launch it within the community that way as they begin their kicking off marketing for 2026, right? It would be a great thing for them. It would also draw attention to our IAE, which you mentioned fastcart earlier, if they did that as well, just a month later. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with the announcements for that. Okay. And last but not least, our other topic here, if it comes up, update 4.1 and some change. This year was a rocky start going into 4.0. CIG introduced this dual server thing that they had going on, the two live servers. A lot of people, it was good for some people. For some people, thought it was kind of weird because it was something entirely different that we did. Eventually, we migrated out of that when things got a little bit more stable and got to 4.0. But it was very rocky in the beginning, and we knew that. We had talked about the fact that this jump into 4.0 was going to be, and I've said this before. I said it when we were doing Soul Voices, that this year was going to be a big year of transition and getting over some hurdles, particularly with them trying to get server meshing into a good place. But the one thing that's happened in 4.0 series, or the 4-point series, has been performance. We've seen market performance where the game runs well. I'm not talking about bugs. I'm talking about performance in the sense of frame rate and consistency. That has been really, we could see a marked improvement in that. Though bugs have been there. CIG had to take some things actually out of the game. Missions and things had to be taken out and stripped down so they could kind of get to the root causes of what the problems were, and they've been slowly adding those things back in. FC, I know you don't normally get into the game too much, but I know you probably keep up a little bit with what's been going on with these transitions. And Sirius, I know you have been playing the game, and 4.1 is now live. People have been experiencing it. CIG introduced the first alien character, quote unquote, hologram character into the game, and so a new mission dynamic. Missions have changed a little bit. There's a new mission that is kind of like an offshoot of what was Theaters of War. That is,
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Sirius, why don't you talk about that a little bit? What you've experienced with 4.1?
Well, I mean, the orbital assault ad for Star Citizen Alpha 4.1 really connotes how much of this is derived from the original Theaters of War idea. The mixed arms, ground and space changes, all of that is shot through with what is central now around aspects of 4.1, right? You are going to space stations that are in low orbit, so you're not in zero gravity. You still have to pay attention. If you jump out the ship, you will fall. Then you're going to the ground. Then you're coming back up to the station. Then you're going back down to the ground. Once you go to the ground and activate certain things, other things in ground are happening. So it's not only surface to space, it's space, surface, and below surface activity, right? And that was a lot of what people wanted from Theaters of War, right? So there's FPS, there's ground vehicles, there's space ships, all of that mixed together, and it's requiring, to be frank, the most sophisticated of solo players, or you need a group, right? You really need a group. I'm seeing images of people who are getting victory out of some of these things coming with 30 plus people, right? It is, but you don't need that many, but I've seen that many to just sort of own the space. The other thing that you mentioned that's interesting about 4.1 is it's our first experience of an alien species in game, right? This is a hallmark moment, in fact, in terms of some of these other sentient alien species coming into the game that we can dialogue with, and who are functioning as mission givers, right? And so that experience is interesting, and it's interesting in a multiplicity of ways. You have some people who go, okay, great, a new mission giver, let me just grind through the missions. And then you have other folks like me who I always stop and I look around, right? So when I get a mission giver like this in the game, and the mission giver has a new setting, a new space that they're in, I go and look around the space. I've been flying around the space looking at this is a Banu. For those, I don't want to spoil people, but this is a Banu that's in the game. And their setting has Banu architecture, Banu features, a Banu look and feel. And I'm really into that. So I am stopping, I'm spending a lot of time over there that has nothing to do with the mission. I'm on mission, but I'm just enjoying the assets that have been developed and the artwork and what it means about the culture that we might consider, right? All of that stuff is now in the game. So 4.1 for me, if you combine the stability efforts, you combine the mixed arms activity over at the theaters of war asset sites, the Hathor sites, and if you consider the increased missions and the Banu opportunities, as well as the fourth thing is the storyline around regen, right? And your ability to engage in all that. This is as rich as Star Citizen has been for a long time, right? And so 4.1 is a great time to combine that with new players coming in and having an experience, right? You know, we talk so often about, oh my God, don't invite new players to Free Flight, or don't invite new players during Free Fly, or don't invite new players during Invictus because of the stability and how they might get a bad impression. Well, now new players are coming in and getting, I think, a much better impression of what Star Citizen is capable of being.
So, Sis, when you said that you explored around the new mission givers space, do you see any hint of a hidden merchantman or a park somewhere, like in the lobby or anything like
You
that?
know, I looked for you in particular. I really did look. And there is nothing that I saw yet. But I listen, the way that they're using this space to practice narrative around the things that they intend for 1.0 and what we heard at the last CitizenCon, they are practicing narrative right now. I would not be surprised if ultimately that ended up being something that was connoted or inferred, right? Yeah. But it is, I didn't see anything yet. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
There's also something interesting about that whole mission thing too, is that it's not about money with him.
Right.
With the character.
It's about trade,
It's about
real trade.
And when you start thinking about, we've always talked about how will people do acquisition of gaining Banu ships, right? You know, it's not going to be like you walk in a New Deal and buy a Banu merchantman, you know, but maybe this becomes the precursor, as you mentioned, that there are things that we will have to do for the Banu that they'll ask for in order to gain favor and gain access to things that they have, because it's not, for them, it's not about money. A lot of times we're out there doing stuff to make money, but you may throw money at them and they say, that's not what we want. You know, what we want is this, you know. So it'll be really interesting to see if they do integrate, like you said. This begins the beginning of that process of how do you deal with the Banu when you want something from them. And if he freaking wants a burrito, which is what he wants for one of his missions, that's what he wants, is a burrito. You know what I mean? Which I thought was pretty interesting. You know, very interesting.
Yeah.
We'll see if that leads into the narrative, like you said. Okay, well, I'm looking forward to that. We're doing our show tomorrow on 4.1, update 4.1. We're just going to be kind of going through the roadmap and talking about what's been implemented. And hopefully we'll have a great conversation on that tomorrow. Last but not least, you may notice that SeriousFun and I are wearing shirts. Fastcart, mine is too big. Fastcart, SeriousFun's is just right, and Fastcart doesn't have one. Okay, so just so you know.
I got left out.
Mine is just right size wise, but I don't have the color yours has. I want your color. So
well, you know what? No,
we all.
Well, you know, these are actually, they should be. Did I get different colors? Maybe I did, because I think I was trying to track. I had like the charcoal gray one. I think yours is like the.
I like the color Griffin has too.
Yeah, the color you have is a better color.
But anyway, these shirts are for, or you can't really read it, but it's for Quantum Vegas, 2955. It's an event that it's going to be coming up in July of this year, and what we want to do is show you the trailer for it and let you take a look at it, and then we're going to talk about it just for a hot second. Some of you all guys have already heard about it, but let's let you watch it. This is a new trailer that we just put out this week, in fact, so here we go.
Citizens of the Verse, get ready. This summer, the ultimate Star Citizen community event lands in Las Vegas.
Join me Saturday, July 12th at Area 15 in Las Vegas, Nevada for an unforgettable day celebrating Star Citizen and the incredible community that makes it all possible.
Panels, special guests, giveaways, and more. There's even a bar citizen the night before.
This is the Star Citizen event you don't want to miss.
Seating is limited and tickets are on sale now, but they won't last, so secure yours before they're all gone.
For tickets and information, visit quantumvegas.space and follow our social media on X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Quantum Vegas 2955. By the community, for the community.
I like how Sherry's funny was showing off that jacket on there.
Yeah,
That was
he had
cool.
to put that jacket on, boy.
and I was modeling my Soul Citizen shirt because I didn't want to feel left out. So yeah, that was
I know, Griff, you would wear an Origin jacket if they had deigned to make one, but they made the right one first. So
I am so mad at that Origin pullover. It just does not. I told myself I should get it, and every time I look at it, it's like I'm not spending. No, it just does not. I need something. I need a jacket. I need a Origin flight jacket. I need something very cool. You know, it would be really cool. You know those white jackets like with Sigillian wears. But
yeah.
See, I need something like that with Origin on it. But you know, we'll see if they ever.
Give it to Gully. He might be able to hook you up.
Yeah, maybe. But anyway, we do want to mention this Quantum Vegas. You guys can check it out at www.quantumvegas.space. Get great information on there. There's going to be a Bar Citizen the day before, as was mentioned. It's going to be on July the 12th. The 11th is the Bar Citizen. The 12th is our event. Tickets are on sale now, because there isn't going to be, hence the title, Quantum Vegas and some change. The change is that you can come to Quantum Vegas since we're not going to be meeting for CitizenCon this year. It's an opportunity for you to get with the community and hang out. And we've got some staff from CIG that are going to be there as well. And it's going to be a really great weekend. So hopefully you guys will join us in Las Vegas, Nevada, because we're looking forward to it.
There'll be at some awards. You'll get to see Griff, Fastcart, and myself in person. You'll get to hang out, and so we want to see you, and with no CitizenCon, this is one of the best ways for us to see you in a place that's an overall a lot of fun in Area 15. So we're very excited to try this, and we want to see you and connect.
Yep, absolutely.
And speaking of change, Griffin, I know it's hard to change, but this is 2025. You no longer have to say www in front of the
I do that. You know what? I do it. I know. I could just say quantumspace.vegas or quantumvegas.space. I could say that.
You know what that comes from, Fastcard? That comes from sometimes when you post it places, if you don't put the www, it doesn't show up as a link. People can click.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why, and it sucks.
Yeah.
But I will try to be much more.
I'm just messing with you, man.
Yeah. So let's see. Okay, that's it. That's our show for today. Just give you guys some real quick briefs in the first of this year through the month of April. Once again, we appreciate our Patreon subscribers and supporters, our YouTube subscribers and supporters. Those of you who watch us on Twitch, we appreciate you as well. This video is going to go out today, which is Saturday, but it'll be out on Monday for everybody to see. Thank you guys so much for your continued support and watching the Soul Citizens, and hopefully we'll see you guys on tomorrow, Sunday, for our Update 4.1 show. And that's about it. So till next time, we're going to sign off by saying
love
and soul. Take care of yourselves, gang. We'll see you soon. Ciao.